Hey everybody, this is the On Fire Show with your host Daryl Brooks, and I'm saying welcome. How y'all doing today? And it is a hot day out there in the state of New Jersey, Burlington, Trenton area. It's hot, and I got my main man Kamal Kujichaquial from the Nubian News is coming on. Yeah, Kamal, I'm gonna invite you. I'm gonna send an invite, and I'm looking for Kamal Kujichaquial of the Nubian News. It is hot out there. I got my water. I see Seth Grossman is watching. Hey, Seth. Monique Stokes. Yes. Melissa. Everybody's watching. Waiting for Kamal for the Nubian News. Kamal, are you there? Come on. You're logging on. Hey, Kamal, hold your phone. Yeah, I'm going to send you another one, Kamal. Okay. I'm approving you, Kamal. Come on. You got to hold your phone landscape side, the sideway. You know how we do it here on the On Fire Show. How y'all doing today? It is Friday, and everybody's feeling good. Kamal Kujichaquial of the Nubian News, the great Kamal. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Brooks.
How you doing? How
How are you, Brooks?
All right. I know. Yeah. How's your phone? You working on it?
Yeah.
All right. I got people already watching, checking you out. All right. Kamal is at the Nubian News headquarters, and he's sitting down. Got the light on.
Ah. Hi, Brooks.
Hey, what's going on, my brother? My hero, Kamal. This is Kamal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the On Fire Show, and I'm interviewing Kamal Kujichaquial. He is the publisher of the Great Nubian News, a Trenton newspaper that discusses African-American issues. Kamal, are you there? How things going, Kamal?
I'm here.
We're here to
Just can't get it.
Oh, get it together. What? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right there. You're right. You got enough. You're right.
Huh. I'm trying to get it to come down.
Oh,
Trying to
okay.
get it to come down.
Trying to get it to come down.
Oh, there
There
you
you
go.
All right, Kamal.
All
right.
What's up, Brooks?
How you doing? We're
Pretty
here.
good.
We're here to discuss the state of Trenton, and some things have been happening in Trenton. We have our new mayor Reed Gassior and his staff, and I'm sure you know all about what's happening with that. Same old with the cities all around the America, violence and shootings. But there has to be some good things happening because you're part of the Nubian News and you see this. I'm from Trenton. You live in Trenton. So tell us about what's happening in the city of Trenton.
There are there are always good things going on in Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
But, the political structure is designed against Trenton. Right now, Trenton has the highest general tax rate in Mercer County.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about the Princetons, we're talking about West and East Windsor, Pennington, Hopewell. All of these places have tax rates which are, half of what Trenton's tax rate is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about in Trenton the poorest people.
Yes.
With the highest tax rate. Now, what happened when Christie came into office? He took a lot of money that the state had been giving Trenton, and he took it away. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and black people, Hispanic people, Democrats, we got rid of Christie and his people, and we put a Democrat in there that we supported, that we actually put in office. And when you support
that
someone,
Mayor Phil Murphy, the governor Phil Murphy, yeah.
Yes. And we expect that, he will understand that since we're the ones who put him in there, we had needs that he would fulfill, and some of our needs, especially the most important needs. Right now, the tax rate in Trenton is driving people out of Trenton.
Mm.
It's destroying Trenton.
Is that by design?
Yes,
it's by design.
Well, Christie did it by design.
Okay.
Christie did it by design, mm-hmm. and Murphy is continuing the same structure that Christie had. So yes, it's by design.
I mean, since you got a Democratic mayor, Democratic council, Democratic governor. Has anything been said? I know you have city council there. Have city council said anything about what's happening with the state and the governor?
Well, you know, basically we have a new city council that just got put in office July 1st, and some of them like Robin Vaughn, San Diego Rodriguez, Jarrell Blakely, you know, they've they've been active towards getting the MOU Memorandum of Understanding, I believe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas really the Department of Community Affairs is actually running Trenton right now, and they've been active in trying to getting that reversed so that Trentonians, the people of Trenton, will actually run this city through their elected representatives. But so far, the other parts of the council have not supported that.
Why is that? I mean, you have Kathy McBride. She's the she's a councilwoman at large. She's president of city council. She hasn't done anything about that. Speaking out about anything.
The one resolution that was brought up in city council, she voted against.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know why she voted against that. I don't know why.
Which resolution was that?
I had talked to Kathy about other negative votes, which I thought were a little unjust towards the people of Trenton. And you know, she explained it to me. She explained her reasoning, and her reasoning, it was sound. Why she voted against them.
Did she say what reason was there? And what ordinance did she vote against?
Okay, what we actually were discussing was, you know, the order of the council meeting. Right now, the public can speak at the end of the meeting after all the voting and everything has been done. Mm-hmm. And the resolution was to move the public comment section up before any voting for ordinances or what have you. And she voted against that. And when I questioned her, why would you do something like that? Why not allow people to speak on agenda items before they came up for a vote? She explained that, you know, there are two meetings. There's a conference meeting on Tuesday, and then there's the open meeting on Thursday. And she explained that if citizens wanted to comment and discuss things on the agenda, they're welcome, more than welcome, to come to the conference meeting on Tuesday, where everything is discussed and people make up their minds. Basically, she was saying that the Thursday meeting is just for people just for the council to publicly vote on things. Mm-hmm. But the actual discussion of the meeting goes on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And the public is invited to that. I mean, so that was I didn't know that. You know, and you know, it was enlightening.
Oh, okay. And so, is there anything else? You know, I want to tell you about something that shocked me in the paper, but we'll talk about that later. So, you know, so what else is happening? You know, what are people saying about Reed Gassiora, the new mayor of Trenton?
Well, I mean, he's new. Come on.
Yeah.
He's been there for.
But he's new.
Less than 2 months.
Yeah, he's been state assembly for what, over 20 years though, right? For the city.
Well, I mean, but that's a totally different animal.
I understand.
It's a totally different animal. And you know, you have to give a man a time to get it to number one. There's so much that he has to learn about Trenton, about the inner workings of Trenton. He doesn't have all his people in place yet. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm willing to give him, you know, more time to get his agenda in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the people of the city of Trenton seem to be excited about Reed Gassiora.
But let me tell you something, Daryl. Mm-hmm. It isn't. You see, I'm not. Like I said, I'm willing to give Reed more time. I'm not willing to give Murphy more time. Murphy has had enough time to act on the behalf of the people who actually put him in office. When the vote came down, white people voted 49 to 49% for the candidates. Their vote split. Black people and brown people, we voted 80 to 90% for Murphy. Yeah. We were the turning point for him to actually get voted into office. And I expect something in return. Of course, that has always been the case with Democrats.
Yeah.
Black people, brown people have always overwhelmingly supported them. But when it came time to actually getting something in return,
Nothing.
it just never happened.
Yeah,
I'm saying to people in Trenton now, look, if Republicans aren't going to do anything for us, and if Democrats, who we support loyally, also aren't going to do anything for us, then wait, it's time that we made up our minds to do something else.
Yeah,
to support somebody else, or maybe even to create something else that we can get behind and support.
Yeah, and I truly believe that. I was around and watching the elections, and overwhelmingly African Americans voted for Phil Murphy, and one of the things I was a little nervous about is that Democrats all over the state of New Jersey and African Americans, they said that the leadership supported Phil Murphy. And one of the things that was talked about about Phil Murphy, that he bought off because Phil Murphy is worth, I believe, $60 million. And he's one of the richest governors. Corzine, I think, was the richest governor. He was a Democrat, and he's worth about $400 million. So Murphy's $60 million. And Phil Murphy, he seemed like he had a very diverse staff. I mean, he has Lieutenant Governor is African American, and his Attorney General is, I think he's a Sikh, and so it looked like a bright future, for the Democrats and for the city of Trenton that overwhelmingly voted for him, and also Phil Murphy. But I always say that there's the wolf in sheep clothing. And and it's sad that when you ask about, do people really know Phil Murphy, and nobody really knew who he was. He's never ran for office. He was he was one of Obama's. I think he was the ambassador. Well, ambassador is not really elected official. And it's sad for what was really happening in Trenton, because I know the people was in the city of Trenton suffering. What are the people in Trenton saying? I know Robin Vaughn wrote something in the paper. There's a couple articles with Robin Vaughn speaking out about Phil Murphy. But what are some of the Democratic voters, especially African Americans, saying about Phil Murphy in your realm? Who you talk to?
Now, if you're talking about the voters as opposed to the leaders, I mean,
the leaders.
You're hearing
well, the leaders are probably not, especially the black leaders, are not going to question Phil Murphy at all.
Right.
Yeah, and so he's a Democrat. He's always right. He's a hierarchy. He's the governor. You can't question him. What are the people saying?
The people that I talk to, Daryl, are tired of waiting. Okay, they've waited and they've waited, and they're simply tired of it. They followed the prescription of getting out, voting, becoming aware of the issues, supporting a candidate that they believe actually would help the city. And they've done this time after time after time, and they're disappointed that their wants and their needs have not been met by either the Republicans or the Democrats.
So, question is, you have different civil rights organizations. What are the NAACP saying? I mean, has the NAACP came out and said anything? Anybody know? And that's important.
The sister running, who's president of the NAACP here in Trenton, Sister Smart, right?
That is Smart, yes.
She's a tiger, man. She's a tiger. Which is something that the NAACP has needed for a while, and she's firmly, I believe, on the side of the people, and that this political balance that we've had towards the Democrats, isn't serving our needs. So I think now I can't speak for her, but you have to ask her. But my feeling from her is that she's ready to say, hey, wait a minute, there also has to be a better way.
Yeah. Matter of fact, she's watching now. I've been trying to get her on the show.
Oh, really? Well,
I don't, Janetta Smart. She's watching. And I've always said this thing. That's why I'm an independent. And my thing is this. Growing up voting. My first vote, I think I voted for Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton twice in my early years, 90s. And I think, I think I voted for maybe George Bush and then Clinton, but George H. Bush. And so my thing is that when you see certain
whoa, slow down. You voted for what Bush?
Father Bush.
Oh, Father Bush.
Yeah, I voted for. All right. Yeah.
It really to me doesn't make a difference whether it's Bush or Clinton.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, but it was always this thing about voting Democrat. You grew up black. You grew up in the city. The Democrats were the thing to be. You had to vote Democrat. The Democratic politicians. And if you look what's happening, not just in the city of Trenton, but if you look what's happening all around the country, you look in Los Angeles, Democrats. They have Skid Row, people living in tents, people living outside, hundreds, thousands of people living in tents. You look in Chicago, 77 shootings, 14 dead, I believe, around 14, 13 dead in one weekend, 10 children shot. So you're looking at these areas, St. Louis, Chicago. You're looking at Philadelphia, the violence taking place. You're looking at Newark. You're looking at D.C. It's kind of scary, but those are the Democratic, control areas, and people are starting to question, why are African Americans, keep voting for the Democratic Party, and and the whole thing of with Trump says, what do you got to lose, during the election, African Americans. What do you got to lose? The cities are terrible. There's much crime more than ever before. If you look in the city of Trenton,
but you're looking at it through rose-colored glasses or something. I don't know, but there's a lot more to this violence. And again, like I'm saying, Democrat, Republican, Independent, it hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
The problem in America isn't. Well, I guess it is. But the problem in America is the system. There's a system of white supremacy racism that is destroying everything we know.
Yeah.
That has always destroyed anything that is not white. Okay?
And
that's the problem.
And so
at any time. They can fix it. Just like Trump just got finished saying, I don't know whether this is true or not. I was reading it on Facebook. He was saying something about the black unemployment, that they don't like it. Well, watch the unemployment get so much worse. If he can control the unemployment or employment, then they can control virtually anything. They can control the poverty. They can control the school systems. They can control medical care. They can control nutrition. All of these things are within their control because they do it for themselves, and they can also do it for us. I have no love whatsoever for the Democratic machine in Chicago. None. Never have, never will.
Yeah.
But that's the same way anywhere, and I have no love for the Republican machine. But both of these machines are part of the system of white supremacy racism. And as long as this system is intact, these things will continually happen because that's what they're designed to do. And black people need to get up off our butts, our dumb butts, and face this and say, look, we are going to make it different. We're going to make it better.
So come out, you've been in the city, we've both been in the city of Trenton, grew up in the city of Trenton for years. And, we've had Black State Assembly, Black mayors, Black Senate, we've Black activists in the city of Trenton. And, my thing is that we've always chosen the wrong type of black leadership. And we've either someone chose the politicians, the black politicians in the city, and we've had, you know, and we know, yeah, it's state control. Certain things are state control. But do you think the problem of especially specifically the city of Trenton is we've had terrible black leadership that have
No.
we haven't had terrible black leadership.
No. You asked me, do I think that's the problem?
Yeah,
no.
One of the problems. No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think the problem is a systematized system of white supremacy racism that is designed regardless of who the politician is. And regardless of the brilliance of what our politicians, the aspirations, the dreams, whatever, they have achieved virtually nothing. I mean, since forever, simply because there is a system in which they work, which controls them and everything else around them.
So,
and until that system changes, it's going to remain the same.
So, you know,
even if you were the man,
I'll make a shot. They may shoot me, but I definitely understand what you're saying. And I had a discussion with a young lady. She works at I think Paul Robeson School. That's a charter school, right? In Trenton, Paul Robeson. And she said, you know, Daryl, that our school is turning out some good kids, some great kids with great education, because it's on Paul Robeson. You know the history of Paul Robeson. But, you know, she says when individuals who actually care about young people have control, when they have control of the school system, like, you know, Paul Robeson and other charter schools, we can turn things around. And not part of the public schools, but the private or the charter schools. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, when individuals can control what they teach kids. I remember we had the African American, what was that? People's School, which turned out some bright kids.
APAC. African People's Action School.
Action School, which turned out some great kids.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They did. But you know what happened with those kids? Once they left APAS, they got right back into the system, you know? And even though they had they had a foundation, they still have to dance to that piper, to that white supremacy racist piper,
the public school system,
if they wish to so-called succeed.
And definitely, I definitely understand what you're talking about. Because, you know, I was just doing some research about a week ago about Trenton schools. You know, when the what is the after-school program? The Trenton School, Daylight Twilight, is the worst school in the city, the worst school in the state of New Jersey, right here in Trenton. And you know, you still have kids graduating from the 12th grade with a 4th or 5th grade education, and it's sad. You know, and you see it. And also, you see, it's problem because I remember you talked about it, the mental illness problem that we have in our cities. Kamal?
Yeah, I mean that's part of the system.
Yeah,
that's part of the system.
And that's happening all over the country.
Black people are basically we're insane. You know, I mean we have to live in not just live, but live and function in two totally separate worlds. I mean, that's hellish. And that's not easy. That you're home and you're feeling, you're acting, you're being one way, and then you're at work or outside of the home and you're acting and feeling and being a totally different way.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that gets confusing. And plus, well, there's just so much. I don't know. Let me tell you what. What I'm very concerned about is the Nubian news. I'm concerned because I'm not concerned. I gave it 3 years. I said I want to do this for 3 years, and I want to go back to my grandchildren, right? So basically, what I'm trying to put together is a system here that the city can embrace and then run with. So I can go sit and play with my grandkids. 1 year is up. We're almost at our 1 year anniversary with Nubian News, and things have gone exceedingly well. I have no complaints whatsoever about how things have gone and how they are going. Okay. Now the focus changes. People know about us. They know we're here. They know we exist. Now they have to start understanding the function of the Nubian News. The function isn't just to put out a newspaper so that somebody can say, oh, we have a newspaper, blah, 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 blah. No, the function is to bring a community together, so that the community begins to utilize it so that they can disseminate their thoughts, their ideas, their fears, their hopes, their dreams to the entire community, and that the community can express back to them, and that we can start a synergy. Like we have one group doing this thing here now, we have another group over here doing their thing, another group over here. Hey, now it's time to get all of those groups talking to each other and interacting with each other, so that instead of just the power of this group and that group and this group, we have the power of these groups beginning to interact with each other, so that we can begin to not begin, but to continue to improve and build upon the strengths of this community.
Yeah,
that's what this paper is about. This paper ain't about having a newspaper. We got newspapers. This paper has got to be about bringing people together.
Yeah, and
let people know, let people understand that it's theirs. It's a tool. That's all it is.
Yeah,
it's a tool for this community to use to improve and enhance itself.
You're definitely right, because Trenton has a lot of different cliques in the city. It's a lot of different cliques, and I've always said that if all these cliques can just sit down and just come together and do something, because you have and within these cliques there are talented people, but a lot of the talent in these cliques, they can't do certain things because one clique can bring out certain amount of people and have this much power and control different things. And that's always been awareness of mine, is that these cliques that have some intelligent people, bright people in them, cannot come together. And that worries me.
And that is my hope, my dream, is that there's nothing wrong with doing your thing. I mean, that's perfectly good, whether you're an individual or whether you're two or whether you're a group of individuals. It's fine doing your thing, but your thing can't stop with just the people you interact with. I mean, there's a whole community that needs to know about your intelligence.
Yeah.
That needs to know about your dreams, because they're critically vital to you, and they may very well be as critically vital to other people.
Yeah.
And we need to disseminate that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, I don't know if you've been looking at some of the posts, we have Dr. Bernard Lafayette's coming to Trenton at Studio B, August 31st and through August 31st, September 1st. He's coming in to talk about nonviolence education, about training young people and adults to how to deal with violence. Because he always said the problem is in the city, people can talk about violence, but they don't have no means or have the understanding how to stop violence. So he's coming in and he wants to meet with, community leaders and people like yourself and others to say, listen, I have a program. It's been doing this for years. He wants, nonviolence education. Exactly. Have people trained to go into these areas and how to deal with, violence and talk to people. And so, that's important to me, because last time I brought him here, I think only 10 people showed up. And that was like 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, this guy, he was Dr. King's aide. He teaches nonviolence education all over the world. So he's coming in the city of Trenton. I think it's important, for people to come out to this type of event, because, I got a guy who's historical. And I know that there are other people, I know that, what's the girl, Jackie Dent? I think she's doing the poetry night or speak out something at the conservatory club and the conservatory. And there's some other people with Doc Long and some other ones are doing things, all over the city of Trenton. And, I've talked to Doc Long about it. I said, we all have to come together, work things out and deal with these, serious issues. So, hey, Nubian News, be interesting to put together a conference, bringing people together and have a serious discussion on, on the way, how we do things in the city of Trenton.
Well, Daryl, you talked about these different activities that were going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of that should be in the Nubian News. All of that. That's what it's there for. You put it in the paper, and then it's gotten out there to the entire city.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. Right now, you have people doing this over here, but these people, all these people here, they don't know
anything about it.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what this is not we have a nice newspaper. It's a connector.
Mm-hmm.
It's an announcer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a voice. And people should be using it
mm-hmm.
to holler, to tell everybody about what the heck they're doing, and just as important, why.
Yeah. Now, what are people saying about the Nubian News since you brought it out for the past year?
It's gotten a tremendous reception verbally.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
yeah.
But again, I'm not interested in. Well, I can't say I'm not interested, but it's not about you have a nice paper. It's not about I saw the Nubian News. It really looks. It ain't about that. It's about community. It's about building a community.
Mm-hmm.
It's about people coming together, understanding their problems, and figuring out solutions together. That's what it's about, and that's what we're going to be working towards for the next 2 years. That's what I'm going to be working for the next 2 years. Is getting that out there so that when I leave in 2 years, whoever takes it over, I don't, whoever. Somebody should be intelligent enough and hip enough to say, hey, look, there's an opportunity. I'm not going to be here after 2 years.
Yeah. So with the Nubian News, when you, the black newspaper, how many are there out there? Let's say, I know the Nubian News, but is around the country, because I know that there's some other ones around the country. How many black newspapers are there and how they're doing?
Yeah, I went to the National Newspapers Publishers Association's conference in June.
Uh-huh.
And that's the Black Publishers Association. There are they have about 200 members. There are more black newspapers than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. But, but there are relatively few. You figure in New Jersey, there's at least 1,000 white publications in the state of New Jersey. At least 1,000. Okay? Whereas, and that's for 8 million people in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Where for 40, 50 million black people in the United States, there's 200, maybe 300 newspapers total.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's minuscule.
How many in New Jersey?
There are 2 million black people. There are no, that's not true. There is one weekly black newspaper. It's a Christian paper in Camden.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
We want to be the second weekly for 2 million people. Okay? You figure for 4 million white people, there are 1,000 newspapers. There's not newspaper publications. For 2 million black people, there's 2. And that is a piece of the critical success of the white community. They're able to talk with each other. They're able to build a commune with each other through newspapers. Mm-hmm. Okay? We don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's critically important that we do have that. If you can't talk to yourself, you can't do nothing. If your head can't communicate with your feet, you don't walk. It's just that simple, and we're not able to communicate with ourselves right now. And it shows because we're really not functioning on a very high level at all right now. Ourselves. Now we have individuals who function well in the white world, but they seldomly bring that back to this community. And you were talking about nonviolence. When he comes, Dr. Lafontaine, was it?
Yeah, Dr. Bernard Lafayette. Yeah.
Okay. Is he going to talk about the violence that the police put on our community?
Yeah, he's going to.
Is he going to talk about the violence of horrible education that's put on our community? Is he going to talk about the violence of poor economic opportunity? I mean, you talk about a couple shootings in the city. That's violent, yes, but it's a whole lot more violent to not educate tens and tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, millions over time.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot more violent to constantly having to have a police force which is not there to protect and defend you. This is real violence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Poor health care is real violence. Is he going to address this?
Yes. And
instead of just black on black violence, which is bad too,
yeah,
but it's not the real thing.
One of the things he talks about nonviolent education is how do you deal with each other in school systems. That's important. I had Yolanda on the show a few months ago, and she talked about how the kids are reacting to each other. How the kids they're not getting the best education home, things at home and at school, and how to deal with the purpose of education. My thing is it is totally unacceptable when you have kids that are graduating from high school can barely read or write or functionally illiterate, and when they leave, they can't get the best education. They can't get the best jobs. Kamal, as I see it, it's okay. They work at Walmart, at Target, or Amazon, and think making $13, $14 an hour is a good job. When there's jobs out there, where you can make $80, $90, $100,000 a year, and they're not getting these jobs. That when you say violence, that's a serious issue.
Yes, it is.
That's
violent.
That's violent. So I was and I didn't. One of the things I was listening. I watch Glenn Beck sometimes, and on the Blaze, and he said that this is a generation of young people that I can't think the service workers generation, where you have black kids, white kids, certain areas of school districts. They can barely read, they can barely write, and the only thing they're good at doing is service workers, service jobs, McDonald's. You have people in their 20s, 30s, working at McDonald's, 40s, 70s, full time. Target, Walmart, well, all they can do is work at a computer, at a system, register, and the register tells them what to do. Basically, you have $10, you push, they gave you 10. How much was the item? 10, 50, and the item say $1.55. And I see this, and I see this at certain places, at Dollar General, General Green, you name it, all these kids, and the kid can look at change, look at the machine, and still can't give you your change right. and it's I'm laughing, but it's sad, Kamal. It's sad that there's generations and generations of young people that are functionally illiterate, also who are their mental illness. And mental illness, I have a girl named Kelly, she comes on the show. She's out of Los Angeles. Hey, she's watching now. Hey, Kelly. She's always on Skid Row. And she talks about the mental illness problems in the African American community. And it's sad. And it's happening all over the country.
It isn't. I mean, Skid Row is one aspect of our mental illness. I mean, we're mentally ill
Mm-hmm.
when we're sitting in the boardroom. Okay?
Mm.
And that has to be addressed. I mean, there ought to be psychologists and whatever, social licensed, whatever you call them, social workers, that we should have one on every corner, just like we have a bodega. There should be one on every corner to help us. There's a lot that we still have to get through.
And you're definitely right. But when you look at our whole as a society, the black kids in the inner city, shooting up. You have the white kids in the suburbs. They're going to killing school. Going to school, killing up the individuals, classmates, and it's a totally mental illness problem for the whole black and white and Spanish generation. And
Yeah, it is.
And one of the things is this thing called cultural Marxism that we talk about. I'm sure you probably heard of the cultural Marxism when you talk about our young kids playing violent video games. I'm sure you see the television shows of Atlanta Housewives and all these crazy things, Love and Hip Hop, all these crazy TV shows. The movies are playing, and and turning our the society. It's like come on, and these kids are watching these things, and they're growing up thinking it's okay, thinking that life should be this way, Kamal. And I remember you telling me something, and I told somebody else, I was telling some other people, and they're saying, yeah, it is. You talked about how things are moving too fast for the young people overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can elaborate on that.
Things change immediately nowadays. I mean, immediately. Whereas when I was coming up back in the 50s, 60s, something happened, you got time to digest it. The community had time to talk about it. And you could adjust to it. You could acclimate to it. But now something happens today, and 6 hours, something else has happened, and the kids simply do not have the ability, the time. It's time to take it in, digest it, and come out with it. It's just moving too quick. It's moving too, and everything is right now is designed. I mean, you look at commercials. I mean, they'll have a woman walking down the street for 2 seconds, and then a kid doing a tumble saw for half of a second. I mean, they just flash, because kids' mental state is, if it's there for 5 seconds, they tune out. They're going off somewhere else. It has to be quick for them, but they don't have the wherewithal to digest and to develop what's going on right now.
So because they don't have the wherewithal to develop, what happens to them as they get older?
You see what happens to them, okay? You see. And I don't even know, because I mean that has also happened to us. I mean, we're not what we should be. We should be. I mean, somebody like you're an intelligent, you're insightful. I know you just love that shit, don't you? Man, that's what you are, really. Seriously though. And you should be. I mean, you should be. There's no reason why you shouldn't even be the head of a Fortune 500 company right now. I mean, with some training. But that's throughout our community. There are some truly brilliant people.
Oh yeah.
Who have never had the opportunity, the chance to develop their full potential. That's another thing the paper is for. It's to help not only to communicate, but so that we can start developing to our full potential. I mean, whereas, I mean, Daryl, we built the pyramids. I was looking at a picture on the internet the other day about one of the tombs in Egypt, and it just blew me away. I said, "Oh my God, I had no idea. I had no idea of the extent of their brilliance." But I mean, we come from people like that, and we still have it. It's just underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And we need to do what we can to develop us.
Yeah. And one of the things that, we were talking about is how things that are happening overnight and are going by so fast. I was saying is that I remember my mom had the yellow phone, the rotary phone, and I think she might have had that till late '80s or something like that. And we saw things, we had a chance to look at things for a while. We understood, just to read. We had a chance to research. We had encyclopedias. We read. There was, it was opportunity to sit in the house and create things.
But I tell you what, think about that phone, that yellow phone.
Yeah.
To you, that was slow and easy. But to me, having grown up in the 40s and 50s, that was quick, that dial, because before that, you had to pick up the phone and wait for the operator to come on and say, "Hi, operator, how are you? Could you connect me to such and such and such a number?" It was even slower. So just between your youth and my youth, things got that much quicker. And now, by the time kids would dial a number now, they'd have already talked to 5, or not only have they made 5 calls, but they got 10 people on the phone.
Yeah.
It just it amazes me but it also shows the capability of their mind, that they're still able to deal with this.
But they
I don't know how well.
Yeah, it shows, and one of the things it does show that, you have young people out there today that can do certain things just like that, pick up a phone, use cell phones, they can use Facebook, they use Twitter, they're doing things rapidly, but there's still, Kamal, a disconnect. There's still that disconnect where they're at home, by themselves in a room. They're not very, and we known that, seen that, they're not sociable type individuals. They're studying, they're on their phone, on the street, on their phone, at home, playing video games, doing everything by themselves, or connecting with friends online. But in the real world, walking down the street, you say hi to them, you smile at them, you say hello, whatever. They're not, they're not that sociable. And do you think it's because of technology?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I say hi to these kids, and I push them. I walk past them and push them. They look and say, what's up, kid? I like messing with kids. I enjoy them. It's just, we need to work on this system. We need to replace this system with the system of white supremacy racism. We need to replace it with a system of justice. That's what we need to do. We need to, where justice is doing no harm to anyone, and whoever needs the most help gets the most constructive help. It's very important that we start to become a truthful first and a just society. And I mean, that's the only way out of this. That's the only way out. Otherwise, we're just going to keep spiraling down into this abyss.
Do you think that ever we will have that type of society?
We have to, Daryl. Yeah. In my mind, in my heart, in my soul, we have to, because it's getting late. It's been heavy for a long time. It's getting heavier, and if we do not achieve a system of justice soon, there's going to be it's going to be catastrophic. It's catastrophic now.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah,
and as you can see with Trump, with not just Trump, but with the present atmosphere. It's oppressive.
So
is what it is.
So you watch the media, you see was you're part of the media. What do you think about the local newspapers, the state newspapers, television, talk shows, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News? What do you think about that type of news? Because one of the things, Trump came out with said is that don't trust the newspapers. Don't trust news, fake news. Now, as an activist coming up, 90s, about what the media, those newspapers, Trenton Tony and Trenton Times, other medias would do to African Americans. You tell them one thing, they say another. So I can understand, for me, when Trump says, don't trust the newspapers, don't trust the media, fake news. I get that. That's something that African Americans who are politically inclined, who crown up in a certain generation like yourself and others, understand what the newspapers did to Malcolm X, to Martin Luther King, other activists, especially in the 60s and 70s. And what do you feel about them now? I mean, how the media has it changed?
They've always done that, not just to the political people, but I mean they've done it to the whole community.
Yeah,
forever. I mean, fake news is. He's not talking about us when he says that.
I understand that. I understand he's not talking about us.
News has always been fake.
It's always been fake.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
I used to go to press conferences and be right there taking my notes and say, no, okay. And then I would read about it in the daily papers the next day. And I said, well, where the hell were they? Because that's not what happened. That's not what was said. I mean, fake news has always happened. And now these newspapers are saying, well, I'm offended that you would not trust us. I haven't trusted a newspaper in a long, long time. A long, long time. But it has nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with I mean, they sent us to war. In Vietnam, let's go back that far.
Vietnam, okay.
Vietnam, they sent us to war in Iraq. I mean, and the newspapers built this all up. They weren't newspapers; they were propaganda machines. And they've done that often. So I mean, you gotta call a spade a spade.
Yeah, because there are people say, oh, the news are not fake. Oh, they don't know what you're talking about. Well, what world you live in? And a lot of people haven't realized, who've been a part of the media, who've seen certain things. If you're an activist or you're a community person, like I said, and you said one thing and the story, they'll switch the story up like that. And you're like, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't say that. That wasn't said, at the press conference. And, and that bothers me because I know the media controls a lot what people think, and it bothers
You're right.
me. And it bothers me today is that people don't do the research themselves. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on MSNBC, and all these different stations. If they say it, then it must be right. And that's what I'm just saying. And it bothered me is that I was on a train one day. And Kamal was the funniest thing, and I support Trump somewhat, but I know all politicians are all the same, somewhat different, but they said that Trump was they had a discussion that Trump was going to send all African Americans back to Africa as soon as he got elected, and and he was going to send all the African Americans back to Africa, and I asked him, well, who told you this? Oh, I heard it on CNN. I heard it on MSNBC. Oh, so you heard that Trump was going to, from CNN to MSNBC, that Trump was going to send all African Americans as soon as he get elected back to Africa. Now, I don't know that wasn't true, but they heard it from a news source, supposedly from these newspapers or television stations. And, even with the whole of the Clintons, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, the 94 crime bill. And, and when the Black Lives Matter groups, others who spoke out against Hillary Clinton, there were people who actually did not know about the 94 crime bill. And they thought, oh my God, I heard about this, this crime bill that under Bill Clinton, more black people were locked up than any time in history. And they actually didn't know it was this happened. And I looked at them. I'm like, well, how come you didn't know it was happening? Well, we just didn't know. And the media hid that too. It's like the media hide things from certain people. And then they look at the media as this great thing. Oh, the media is always telling the truth. And so, we're living at that generation now that the media tells the truth and believes things. How do we change that, Kamal, as the Nubian News?
We deal in truth. That's the only thing we can do. We will tell you the truth. It may be ugly truth, it may be pretty truth, but it will be the truth, because I don't believe that we can get to justice without first telling the truth. Okay, so that's how I can't do anything about these other newspapers, except if they say they do something, and if we report on it, we'll report on it truthfully.
So
that's about all I can do.
So you talked about during the Vietnam War, and you talked about the Iraq War with George W. Bush.
That's the one you voted for, right?
Oh no, I didn't vote for George W. No.
Oh, you voted for the other Bush.
No, yeah, it's his father Bush. So, so one of the things, hand in hand, everything we talk about education, and you talk about politics and happening in the news. If we have a generation of people, young people, black and white, who graduating from 4th grade, 3rd grade reading level, math level, and you have a newspaper that pushes out propaganda. Then you have a young people who don't do the research. What could happen to our society?
And old people.
Huh?
I said, and old people.
And old people too. Yes, old people, because the old people love Bill Clintons. They love the Democratic Party. Mama Jones, she go faithfully every 2 years, a year, or 3 or 4 years, and go vote for the Democratic Party and live in a senior citizen home that is terrible in the city of Trenton, but all over the country. And so,
we've got to do better.
Yeah.
If there are senior citizens buildings that are in terrible shape, then it's our city. We've got to say, hey, whoever runs these things, you've got to do better. We've got to do that.
Yeah.
That's something that we can do. We can demand excellence from people. Mm-hmm. That's what we're trying to give them in this newspaper. We're trying to give excellence, and we're expecting excellence, especially from those that we elect to represent us. Mm-hmm. Those that we let control the money that we give them, our tax money. Mm-hmm. I expect excellence out of them. I expect in the senior citizens house building, when you go in there, that it be clean. That it smell properly. Because that's as it should be. But we've gotten to the point where we accept mediocrity.
Yeah.
And we have to change that. We do. Mm-hmm. And we can change that. There are a lot of sloppy people out there that just let things go. No, this is the way you do it. You do it 1, you do it 2, you do it 3, and you follow those steps, and it's very, very simple. but there has to be structure. There has to be procedures how to do things, and then there has to be someone who says that expects that the people who do it that way. You know?
Okay. So
let me I want to talk about, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. I want to talk about the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Specifically, Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Very few people know what that is. Title VI may very well be the most important piece of legislation ever written by Congress, especially in the past 100 years. And it talks about non-discrimination when it comes to federal public funds. Now, let me give you an example. If you go to a hospital, and hospitals get Medicaid, Medicare, which are public money, okay? And then that hospital can't discriminate in how they spend that money. They can't say, well, we're going to support the white Band-Aid makers, and we're not going to support any black Band-Aid makers. If they spend with white Band-Aid makers, they have to spend with black Band-Aid makers too. That's what Title VI says. You can't discriminate in how you spend federal funds. And it's critical, because if that law were being followed today, our communities would be so much more wealthy than what they are right now. You go out on the street and you see these work crews, you know, that are hired out for, let's say, by the county, and you see all white workers there. Well, that's against the law. They have to include everybody because they're getting public funding, okay? And they don't do it. But if they did, then maybe if there's 12 jobs out there, maybe 2 or 3 of them would be black jobs. And that would increase the money in the black community. But by not having, I mean, you just take a small thing like that, these 12, and then multiply it by thousands. We're missing thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs because people are not being compliant with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. And it's critically important that if any organization gets even a little bit of public funding, then that whole organization has to follow Title VI. And it's not happening. I went to the county meeting and I asked them about their compliance officer, the person who makes sure that these things are followed, and they told me they don't have a compliance officer. I go, well, what the hell? But, you know, that's something that the entire community is going to have to become cognizant of and push to make it, because economic money is critical.
And
everything.
And Mercer County is controlled by, you know, the Democratic Party.
By the Democrats.
Brian Hughes.
And that, you see, again, something like that is amazing to me, that the Democrats, and they've been in there for years and years and years and years, and they don't even have a compliance officer. Somebody that the compliance officer is there to make sure that we get our fair share. And with all the support that we've given Mercer County over the years, you would think that they would at least have the look, the front of making sure that we got our fair share. And they don't even have that. Yeah,
you know, and I know that, like I said, the president of the NAACP is watching. I'd love to get her on the show. So anytime you're ready to come on the show, we can have a discussion on what, especially what Kamal was saying. Maybe, you know what, Kamal, there's a thing where we can get 3 people on at the same time. So, yeah, we can get.
You know, somebody just said that blacks have become too lazy and relying on government. Man, if we were relying on government, we'd be up shit. We are up shit's creek. The government does not take care of black people. I mean, the government takes care of corporations. They take care of these big farmers. They take care of the technology industry. I mean, they take care of all. Government does not take care of black folks.
Oh, you know what?
So I don't even know what he's talking about.
I didn't see that. You know, because maybe it's not going up and down the comments. But
okay, yes, I'm seeing.
Okay, yeah,
we're too lazy.
Yeah,
he says blacks have gotten too lazy and relying on the government. Not to mention blacks don't value education. blacks don't value it. Let me tell you what.
Wow.
Blacks died.
I didn't see that.
They died.
Yeah.
For education.
I didn't see that.
They died to educate their kids.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't see that. You know, I didn't see that. But one of the things that you know, Martin Luther King talked about before he was assassinated, I think it was 1967, 66, forming the Poor People's Campaign. He talks about how America gave loan grants out to farmers. You know, that is basically welfare for them to stop growing, you know, their farm is basically welfare. And in certain areas of the country, he gave white farm owners, you know, the government gave them basically welfare, not to gave them money not to grow farm or farm in certain areas. So, you know, if anyone would say that blacks were too lazy and we don't value education, you know, please, you know, you watch the show, you know, I value education, Kamal value education, individuals that come on the show value education, because we're out here trying to help each other and work together and as one. So please, no crazy comments like that, you know, especially if you watch the show. You know, I'm glad that you spotted out, Kamal. I can't see the comments. I know Janetta. I know Janetta Smart said something, and Floyd and some other ones. For the watching, this is Kamal Kujichaquial from the Nubian News, and I'm Daryl Brooks from the On Fire show. I'm interviewing about Kamal by the state of Trenton, and you know we had interviewed you about 6-7 months ago. And basically similar things hasn't changed, Kamal, and you know, and I'm glad that you came on the show so we can talk about some of these serious issues. And I'm glad Janetta Smart is watching, and she has to come on the show and talk about these issues in the city of Trenton, because you know what, Kamal, there's a lot of individuals. We have Bonnie Watson Coleman. She's our congresswoman. You have Shirley Turner. She's our state senate. We have the other lady, state assemblywoman. I can't think of her name. She was the East Ward councilman. I can't think of her name right now. And so we have other ones that are in the city of Trenton who are, to me, to be educated and who've been in politics for over the past 20 or 25 years, 30 years in the city of Trenton. And we still have the same problem, and that's the Democratic power control. And the Democrats have always, you know, a lot of people say the Democrats, and you know this, the Democrats have always taken black people for granted, always. You know, and it's sad. It's definitely sad. So
it really is.
Yeah,
it really is. It's not just sad. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. It's criminal. It's abhorrent. You know, I mean, it's time we came together and figured out a different way. Because if the Republicans don't value our votes and the Democrats don't value our votes, why the heck are we giving it to them? Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm looking at, if we had our own party, and let's say our candidate didn't win, what the heck difference does it make whether they win or lose if we're not going to get anything out of them anyway?
Yeah.
Who was? Oh, I was at the Chamber of Commerce of Princeton had a Meet the Mayor of Trenton event. Mm-hmm. Okay. The white Chamber of Commerce of Princeton had a Meet the white mayor of Trenton event at the Trenton Country Club. There were approximately 100 people there. 13 of them were black. None of them were on the panel. So not a black person spoke that day. We're talking about Black Trenton being represented by all these white people. And I lost my train of thought because I was going to say something else. That was just a prelude. I forget.
Don't worry about it. You're on the On Fire show and you're heating up, and you know I'm excited.
That's because I'm old.
You're old.
You know, but I need a young person to take this seat. Check.
You're not. That's
why I started this paper. I didn't start this paper.
You on?
I started this paper because no young person would do it.
You on fire, Kamal? You on fire, baby?
I'm on fire, brother. I'm on fire.
You're on fire. You're welcome to come on anytime. And Kamal, sometimes old lions, as long as you still have the bite, you still have the power to speak out, and you need to speak out. And I'm just I'm excited about some of people like Robin Vaughn, Jarrell Blakely, and other ones who seem to be very intelligent and seems to ready to fight. And there are more individuals, and I do a lot of fighting, speaking out about some of the issues that in Trenton. Matter of fact, we're doing the On Fire tour, and I welcome you to be a speaker on the On Fire tour, September 22nd at the State House. You're welcome to be a speaker. And I was going to invite you anyway. I was going to call you in the next couple of days, and I just
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't do that.
I want you to speak.
That's not my thing, brother.
You don't want to speak?
Well, it's not really, no.
Well, it's going to be people from state senators and community activists from all around the state, gun activists, all types of different people coming together because, we have to come together. And
Daryl, people find me to be too rough.
Oh, well, that's why I invited you on the show. You're not too rough.
I mean, they find me to be too, because I know what I blame for our condition. I don't blame our young people. I don't blame the violence. I don't blame black people for what's going on. I blame the system of white supremacy racism for what's going on. I put the total blame on that. You get rid of that system of white supremacy racism where black people are held down, purposely planned, being held down. You get rid of that system, you'll find out that we can still build pyramids. And that's not just in America. That's been all over the world. All over the world.
So
the system is a universal system.
And one of the things.
So folks don't want to hear me.
Now one of the things I have we're going to do a 4. I think we have eventually we're going to do a 4-way video, and I would like you to be a part of that. I have John J.R. Carmen from the New Jersey Republican Constitutional Republicans, and we're going to talk about this whole thing, and I'll see the information, but we're going to talk about this thing called cultural Marxism, and it's important to have a discussion, cultural Marxism, and where it has taken us as a society as a whole of American society, cultural Marxism. And, it has to do with the educational system, has to do with jobs, has to do with the culture of our society, the music, the movies, the television, all these things that are we have young people are just losing their minds, and why is this happening and who's pushing it? So that's one of the things that we're going to definitely have a discussion, and we would love to have you on that 3 or 4-way panel on Facebook Live, issues of cultural Marxism. I'll send you some information about that. But you would be Nubian News would be welcome to be a part of that discussion, and it'll be history in the making. History in the making. All right. Well,
I can do that.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time. My phone is about to die, and I don't have it charged like I should. 60%. I had it at 65%. So listen, I will send you some information about Lafayette, On Fire tour, the whole thing, a discussion on cultural Marxism. And we find that a lot of us have certain things in common. But I know you read the links. I can't even read the links because it's not going up and down. And,
no. And who's this? Do you know who Floyd Wilson is?
Yeah, NRA guy.
Okay, that explains.
But no, I love Floyd. Floyd is he's a NRA guy, Second Amendment. He's been on the show a couple times, but a lot of us
I like to hear that.
Yeah, we agree and we disagree, but that what makes America and who we are as a people. and we can agree to disagree, and we can come together and benefit each other and help change some things, because we all want a better society. And even with the NRA, with the Second Amendment society, Kamal, I don't know if you know, right to bear arms, protect yourself. I believe that, and one of the
Oh,
things.
I believe that. I believe wholeheartedly everybody should be armed.
Armed,
Everybody.
And you know what? And Martin Luther King, the story was Martin Luther King, it was true, when he was in Alabama, he wanted to get a gun license. They denied him a gun license.
I don't blame him. I would.
But they denied him a gun license, and there were a lot of activists say, well, Martin Luther King didn't believe in the gun. He believed in nonviolence. But why did he try to get a gun license to protect himself?
Defending yourself is not violence.
Yeah, it's not.
It's defense.
Yeah, and the liberals would probably hate you for that.
They probably hate me for a lot of things. And the conservatives hate me for a lot of other things.
Yeah, the NRA would love you.
No. I am fully in favor that every person in this country should have a gun.
Wow. You're gonna have to speak at
every person.
They're gonna have you at
especially every black person. They're
gonna have you at the NRA rally talking.
Not only have a gun, but know how to use it well.
Know how to use it well. I know that. My grandma, let me just tell you something. My grandma was probably the most influential Christian woman in my life. She took me to church 5 days a week, Kamal. 3 churches on Sunday. And I tell the story, she had a rifle in her house and a handgun. So if anyone broke in our house in the middle of the night, in the name of Jesus, you might have to get when you go. If she didn't know that voice, all hell the power of Jesus' name couldn't save you. You gonna get shot, and that's how it was in the South.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, if someone broke in your house, you should have a right to protect yourself, your family, and your property.
That's good, Kayla. Learn how to use it.
That's Kayla wants a gun. Yeah. So, but
that's good.
That's good. But you should want to have to protect yourself, and and that's a God-given right. And I know that our governor right now, the NRA, the Second Amendment people are against him because he's trying to push everything back with gun control. He wants to control. Really make the gun owners criminals. And it's not the gun owners that are shooting schools, killing in Chicago. It's people with illegal guns, and is that and idea is that we have people in Florida, in Dallas, and all these areas, people with guns that are committing these crimes are doing it with illegal guns. There's nothing wrong with protecting yourself and your family, Kamal. You know that for a fact. Why has it made? Why is it so wrong to protect yourself and wait for 911? Why, wait for the cops to come and your whole family's dead and everything, and stole everything. That's the craziest thing.
I agree. I agree.
That's the craziest thing.
I've always said that if you break into my house and you're downstairs and we're upstairs, you can have anything you want downstairs. Go ahead, take it. I don't care. But once you put a foot on them steps, then you belong to me. All right? You're not coming up them steps except to do harm to me and my family, and I'm not going to have that. That would be insane.
Yeah, I hate this, and I'm a Christian, and I hate to say, I'm gonna prove it to y'all. I don't have a gun, but I got my right here.
I never bring a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah, so it's about I've heard that in the movies. And I'm nonviolent. I heard that in the movies. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight because you're gonna lose. If you ain't Bruce Lee or somebody, one of them Chinese guys, the movies, you're gonna lose.
I don't know whether you're going to, but you certainly should.
Yeah. So, but Kamal, it's been a great having you on. Before my time run out, I thank you, and you're welcome to come on anytime. I'll give you I'll call you tomorrow and let you know what's happening. Thank you for coming on. I think the people have been watching. They've been very respectful, and every man should have a pocket knife. That's right, Floyd.
I got one of them too.
And so, I thank you for coming on. I like to thank Van for watching. Janetta Smart, NAACP president, come on. My sister, come on the show. Let's talk about serious issues: education, jobs, healthcare, poverty. All that Kamal said for the Nubian News. I want to have you come on the show. Make a commitment to come on the show. Janetta Smart, president of the NAACP. I've been trying to get on for show. She thinks I don't know, may throw a loop or something, a crazy ass or something. No, just like some of the stuff that me and Kamal was talking about, the same issues that we have to talk about with the Nubian News. All right. Hey, Van, how you doing? Yo, Van, I know you got bowling night Sunday, so I might check it out. So I think it's Saturday or Sunday, Van. Let me know. But I thank you all for watching. This is the On Fire Show. I thank Kamal. Thank you for watching. God bless. And I will give you a call tomorrow. Peace.
All right, brother.
Show
thank
us
you
the
very
Nubian
much.
News. Show the paper. Where's the paper at?
Oh, you got. Let me get the new one.
Okay. Kamal is going to get the
It's
new
right here.
It's right here.
It's right here. Because we got Aretha. We got
Aretha.
My sister.
Your sister.
On the front cover.
All right. The queen.
Okay.
Before we go, tell us about your experience of listening. What did Aretha Franklin do for you, Kamal?
Oh man. Aretha was in my formative years, in the early to late 60s. That's when I was really into Aretha Franklin, and she took me into and out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So Aretha was the queen.
Yeah.
She was the lady, bro. She was the lady. It was what her sound, her voice, her she can do everything, and she did it so soulfully.
Yeah.
And so lovingly.
Yeah. One of the things that it did it for me, I love her gospel songs. I listen to gospel music all the time, and and some of the stuff I listen to now, or this generation, some of the gospel music that are out now, I guess in the past 2 or 3 years, 4 years, and one of the things, if I get tired of listening to the gospel sounds now, I go back into the 60s, 70s gospel, 50s, Mahalia Jackson. My grandma played Mahalia Jackson. And, and one of the songs that I love so much, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. Precious Lord. And Mahalia Jackson, Precious Lord. Then you listen to Aretha Franklin's Precious Lord. And, you're looking from Mahalia Jackson, who was a powerful, anointed Christian voice, gospel singer. And then you listen to you listen to Aretha, and Aretha put that soul in it, that funk soul, that 60s, 70s soul, that heart, that, Mahalia, that heavenly, but that Aretha just takes it to another level. Precious Lord, Take My Hand. And I was surprised, that Mahalia Jackson, Martin Luther King would call Mahalia Jackson and sing that song, ask her to sing that song to him over the phone, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. And then Aretha, sings that I believe she sings that, Mahalia Jackson and Aretha sing similar songs like that at Martin Luther King's funeral. And, that was Martin Luther King's favorite gospel song, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. My favorite gospel song, Precious Lord, Take My Hand, Mahalia Jackson, and Aretha Franklin. And Aretha Franklin album, the gospel music, the gospel album, is just amazing. Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace. And it's, you don't even have to have music, just let her sing. Let her just sing. And it's that, you're right. And it's that soul music, that soul from the 60s, that that's Detroit sound. You know what I mean? That is coming right from the soul and the voice and the heart. I mean, and you can't go wrong with Aretha Franklin ever.
No, you can't.
You know.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So she'd be surely missed. And I didn't know she was sick at all. And I didn't know when they said she was on her deathbed, and I was like, wow, really? Oh, Letitia Williams Burke. She says, you know who she is, right, Kamal? She says,
yes, they do.
Yeah. She says she only listened to old school gospel. You know, I like to listen to new school and old school. When I get tired of new school, I got to go into old school. But where you been, Letitia? I got to interview her. But one of the things I like to say, I was seeing information on Kamal about Dr. Bernard Lafayette and some other stuff. But I thank you for coming on the show. For those who came on late, you'll see the full interview right after. That's why I'm going to get you off, Kamal, so I can just put the full interview out and share it out. And so I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. God bless, and have a great night. And I'll talk to you.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, this is Daryl McCarroll Brooks of the On Fire Show. I'd like to thank you all for watching the show. And I hope you learned something about what Kamal was talking about with the Nubian News in the city of Trenton. And, you know, we all have to work together. And there is this supremacy, and there are destroying our kids. And it's cultural. To me, it's cultural Marxism. Please, people, look up cultural Marxism. It's a supremacy that is destroying our young kids, whether they're white, black, or Hispanic, or the culture. And we need to really understand what's happening to our society. If you understand cultural Marxism, you understand some of the things. We will definitely have a discussion on that. And, you know, Martin Luther King said it best about helping each other. He said that we're all caught up in this great, inescapable networking mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny. All right, we're all caught up in this great networking mutuality tied in the single garment of destiny. And whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And that I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be unless I am what I ought to be. Then he quotes the poet John Donne and says, no man is an island. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Then he goes on to say that any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind. Therefore, never send to Nome who the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. And this is what we should be as a people, as a society, black, white, Hispanic, all people, Americans in our country. And we have to be this way to change things. Yes, collaboration is power. All right, we have to change, people. We have to make this country better, stronger for all Americans. And, you know, there shouldn't be 12th graders graduating with a 4th, 5th grade reading level and working at Walmart, working at Target, service workers generation. You know, we shouldn't have kids, whether they're black or white kids, killing each other in Chicago, and the ones that are killing each other in Philadelphia, in Florida, and in Dallas. You know, kids, massive shootings in Chicago, 77 shootings, 14 dead in one weekend. I mean, we should not be happening. We should not have kids in Florida. Kids use a gun and kill, I think it was 16 to 17 kids. That should not be happening. It should not be happening. And I support, and I'm going to say this, I support my NRA friends, Second Amendment, because I believe in the right to bear arms, the right to protect yourself. My grandma protected myself, cousins and uncles and other individuals should have a right to protect yourself and protect your family. It's only natural. Okay, I want to say this to y'all. It's only natural that we protect ourselves and our families. Okay, and we should have not to deal with police brutality that happened to blacks and whites. We shouldn't have to deal with that. We can make America stronger if we come together as a society and make things happen, make jobs, grow jobs, take care of families, educate each other. That's all I'm saying. We have to do a lot better. Morally, spiritually, we have to pray, call on God, call on our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and know God. These kids don't know God. They've never excuse me, they never felt God. And we have to do a better job, the preachers, the family, to get the kids to know God. That other thing was, I'm getting tired, things coming out, not coming out correctly. So I'd like to thank you all. God bless. This is the On Fire Show, and I'm Daryl McKell Brooks, and I'm out. Oh, one other quote. Dr. King said this: "True forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yet that scaffold sways the future, and behind the dim unknown stands God within the shadows, keeping watch above his own." God is in the shadows watching us, people. God is waiting for us to do what's right. God is in the shadows. He's in the shadows. He's watching us. He's there for us. And he wants us to do the right thing. But we have to believe in God and believe there is a God. Hey, Lou, I got the money. I got the check, Lou. Yeah, we talked. So anyway, thank you. God bless. Hey, Lou, you're on late. You come on late, Lou, all the time. I got an interview. That's Lou Jaskoff. He's running for state assembly up in Scranton area, Wilkesboro, Factoryville. You got a great campground area to the camp at. Enjoy yourself. Hey, Lou, love you. God bless. Stop coming on late. And Lou, you got to come on the show so we can interview. Take care. God bless. I am out of here. I got apple juice to drink. Peace.